All right, we're back out at the airport again. Today we're probably not going flying, although it is a beautiful day out. We're going to kind of focus in on the other side of owning an airplane, which is maintaining it. So we've got 11 or 12 hours in this plane since we bought it, since we brought it back, and it's time to kind of check on some things. So I'm going to focus on doing a lot of cleaning to inspect, trying to find things that may be creeping up on us as I clean. Take the cowl off and look for oil leaks. I know the plane does have a little bit of a tendency to throw some oil out. So we're going to see if we can hunt that down and just kind of do an overall cleaning. I've also got a little squawk list to work on, so we're going to look at the landing light that seems to have failed us. So get a part number off that so we can make sure to get a new one. And we've got a strobe light on the right wing that's a little wobbly, not working so good. So we're gonna just start digging in, and we'll keep the video rolling, and I'm sure I'll speed this up and then slow it down to point out some things that pop up as we're cleaning. So thanks for watching. If you have any questions about the plane, just let me know. Right, if you're looking at similar planes, I'm happy to talk about my experience, and we'll see if we can pass some information on. Thanks, guys. Always a good idea to keep these screws contained. They're so small and there's so many of them on the Mooney. It'd be really easy to let them get away from you. Not only do you want to not have to replace them, you don't want foreign objects on the ground, the opportunity of sucking that stuff up. So always a good idea to keep them contained. Interesting. We found a fastener that came out. Not sure where that's from, so we'll have to dig into that one. I can't be certain, but it certainly looks like that fastener that I found came out of right there, which is, make sure you can see this. Right there, which is part of the baffling. There's fasteners just like over here. They're non-safety wired fasteners all the way around. So we'll put that one back in and tighten it down and keep an eye on it for next time. Just glad that it didn't fall all the way out or get sucked up somewhere. So again, right there's the hole. It looks like it came out of. There's an empty hole, and we'll get that put back in. Well, we're going to switch around to the other side, get the cowling off. We already found a little bit of oil, which is no big surprise. We know she likes to spit out anything you put in her over really 6 or 6.5 quarts. And when we bought the plane, they had just done an oil change. And great guy that did it. I think he put 7 in it, 7.5 maybe even. So it spit that right out. So we're gonna try and keep the oil that's in it right around 6, just a little bit over 6 maybe. See if we can start to reduce that flinging a little bit. Side's pretty clean. So as we're looking through here, we're just looking for things that are out of place, things that might not, things that look broken or cracked, or, we've got an annual coming up on the plane next month, and of course they'll do a pretty thorough inspection during annual, but man, how powerful if you can show up to an annual and be able to tell them all the things that you found and maybe not been able to fix, or the things that you have fixed, and have them look at it. Of course, it's a little bit of a slippery slope, but there's only so much work you're allowed to do. Some oil right there. Not sure if it's coming out of that gate. That looks like the oil pressure pickup right there. Maybe we're losing a little out of there. might not be the easiest to see, but right there, the dipstick tube, I think that's where we're getting the most leakage. Unless it's coming from further up and in, but man, it sure looks like it's coming from right there. And when we had some work done on this, we had new engine mounts put on before we brought it home. We asked that be addressed and a new seal get put in there. I can't guarantee that it did, but man, it sure does look like it's leaking from right there. So again, these engines are known to leak a little bit. It's probably not the end of the world, but it is frustrating having to try and keep everything clean. So we're gonna work on cleaning this engine bay up a little bit, get the oil, any standing oil I see wiped up, if I can get my hands in there, and then we'll button this back up and start working somewhere else. All right, like I said, this landing light was burned out. It seems to be burned out. I'm not quite sure that this is the right way to take it out, but there's 4 screws that look like they have a retainer holding it in there. So I'm gonna pop those, and of course we got the cowl off so I can see the electrical connections on the back, just a power and a ground. So we're gonna quick pop those out, and I have a multimeter here so we can check to see if that light's working. Took a little finagling. Again, 4 screws, and it's a split ring, so I just kind of got it so it could get a little smaller, and that ring popped right out of there. Just like that. GE 4522 landing light. Get the multimeter out, and we'll see if we got any continuity. So it looks to me like I've got 35 ohms, whatever. There's resistance in there, so it's not making a complete circuit. Just kind of inspect this light a little bit. And I'm no electrician, never claimed to be one, but sure looks like there's a broken lead in there. So looks like the light's bad, which is probably the best case scenario because nobody else likes chasing other problems. So it's a GE 4522. We'll have to find one, get one ordered up, and get it put in. So I was wiping around a little bit, and I found a missing, or a nut plate that seems to have gone missing. And I noticed I was missing a couple on the light when I put that back in. I did put the light back in case we want to go flying during the day until I get a new one. So we'll pull a screw out of there and we'll put this back on. So already a couple key findings, things we wouldn't have seen otherwise that, one, we won't have to find during annual, and two, just keeps you a little bit safer, All right, so I found a curious little thing going on here, and I actually reached out to the AMP IA who's worked on this in the past. I've got this hose coming off of the exhaust, which isn't too crazy. I mean, it happens. This one goes to my heater, right up into the cabin. This hose comes off the exhaust, so it must be hot air, and it was just deadheaded right into here, which may be okay, but the curious part is there was a hose clamp on it and it was loose and it was just kind of hanging out there. So it makes me think that it was attached somewhere at some point. Now there is a place that it looks like things could attach right here, but man, that goes into the cowl, and you would think that would be trying to get air out, not hooked up to any kind of exhaust to get heat into there. So anyways, I reached out to him. We'll see what he says. For now, I'll just put it right back how it was. I'll leave the cowl off on this side. I'll go clean up a little bit more on the other side and put that cowling back on. And we'll go from there. All right, so after consulting with an A&P friend, he's pretty certain that this hose is indeed supposed to go around this baffle with the purpose of pulling air from the baffle, pulling air from the baffle into the exhaust. I'm assuming using the vacuum of the exhaust to evacuate air out of the baffle. So clearly it has a hose clamp. It fits perfectly to that position. It makes sense to me. So we're going to hook it back up. That ought to do. So we'll see if that has any effect on temperatures. I wasn't seeing excessively high temperatures or anything like cylinder head temperatures too high, but we've also been flying in pretty cool air recently as we're in Michigan, and it's just now starting to warm up for spring. So potentially we could have got into some cooling issues with that. So that hopefully that's now drawing air out of the baffling and using the exhaust to do that, and we'll see if it changes anything. I just want to take a minute and make the point that the issues that I found in here today, so the heater hose that wasn't hooked up to the baffling and the bolt that had dropped out, those were real issues. Those weren't placed or made up. They were real and could have caused problems. So that's why we do this stuff, to make sure we all stay alive.